Wait, what? What is that noise? Is there somebody driving down the road with a flat tire? Oh no, it's just a Whopper Plopper. Hi there, welcome to the Bass Fishing Life. I'm your host, Steve Rogers. Before we get into today's video about how to fish the Whopper Plopper, make sure that you punch that subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell, write a comment, jam that like button. All those things help us out here on the channel, so thank you very much. Everybody agrees that topwater fishing is probably about the most fun that you can have when chasing bass. There's a lot of amazing topwater lures out there. One of them that has really got a lot of people talking is the Whopper Plopper. It is a very strange looking bait. It's got this propeller looking blade on the back side of it, makes a crazy noise, but fish absolutely love it. How do we know they like it? There's manufacturers out there that are starting to imitate this exact bait, one of them being the Chapo. So today we're going to talk about where I would fish the Whopper Plopper, what my setup might be, and just some of the different types of cover that you're going to want to target when you've got a Whopper Plopper tied on. Now, there are about 4 different sizes. The one that I'm fishing today is actually a 130, or the largest size. If I was targeting smallmouth, I would probably go for the 90. The 130 is a really large bait. It's got huge hooks on here, makes a lot of ruckus and a lot of noise. Now, the conditions that I have today are ideal for a topwater bite. It's very calm, it is mid-morning, and it is still gray and overcast. We've had a lot of fog, so this is perfect type of weather to fish a topwater, which is why I wanted to talk about the Whopper Plopper today. Now, the first thing I should probably talk about is the setup that I have. I'm actually using braided line. You may be wondering, okay, why using braided line on a topwater? And a lot of people do, but lots of folks choose monofilament as well because it floats. I'm using braided line because I can cast this bait forever. And if I have a ton of line out there, I want to try to minimize some of that extra stretch I would get in monofilament. So that's why I've got braided line on here. And plus, I really don't want to break this thing off when a 9-pound bass engulfs this thing. They're expensive, so I don't want to be losing them all the time as well. Let's talk about the rod as far as fishing a topwater like this. I like to have a medium action rod for my topwater fishing. I want just a little more give than when I'm fishing a jig or something like that. Most of the time in a topwater situation, the bass are not going to be buried up in cover, so I don't have to worry about getting them tangled up around branches, stumps, that sort of thing. And I want to make sure that they do get a nice hook set, and that medium action gives just a little more flex in the rod, especially if I do choose to use braided line, which will eliminate a lot of the stretch that the mono has. So I like to have a medium action rod. As far as a reel, you're really okay with a wide range of speeds. Probably your mid speed, that 6.2, 6.3 is the best. This one is actually a high speed, so I just have to make sure that I'm not fishing it too terribly quickly. Or you could even get away with a 5.2. You just may have to reel that a little bit faster. Now, with all types of topwaters, you want to let the fish determine how you want that bait presented. The nice thing about the Whopper Plopper is it literally is a cast and retrieve type of a bait. Just a nice steady retrieve works best. Every once in a while I might pull it, twitch it, give it a little bit more of a splash, but you can get away with a good steady retrieve, which makes it an excellent topwater bait for somebody that is just getting into bass fishing. Now, with these conditions today, I'm going to be targeting shallow cover. Already as we were putting the boat in this morning, we were seeing some bass, nice bass that were cruising up shallow. With these overcast conditions, I'm going to target shallow cover. Now with this bait, I'm going to try to isolate some, weeds, anything that is really off on its own, isolated weed pile, maybe a single lay down tree. that's up shallow. Those are the types of things I'm going to try to target with this Whopper Plopper. I am also going to make sure that I come by every dock that I can and go ahead and run it along parallel with the edges of the dock. Even in the overcast conditions, docks are excellent choices, especially for big fish. You can just really hear that thing working, just going to town. Now in our Facebook group, we have a ton of anglers that fish from the shore all the time, or primarily they are bank fishermen. Topwaters are wonderful choices for that because you're not as likely to get hung up and to stuck. And so a Whopper Plopper is an excellent choice for a bank fisherman, for a shore fisherman, as well as any topwaters. Now the one thing that we need to take into consideration when we're fishing this Whopper Plopper is this is also a really good search bait. Okay, so even if I don't hook up a fish on this particular bait, I could have one swipe at it. I could have one go ahead and follow it to the side of the boat. So those are all situations where I'm going to want to follow up with something else, whether it's a stick bait, wacky rig, shaky head, you know, any of those types of things. So make sure that you pay close attention to what is going on. Now you can also see out here that I'm paralleling this shoreline. I can cast this thing so far and just bring it back. It's an excellent, excellent way to cover a lot of water quickly. If you're pond fishing or fishing, you know, a small water at a golf course or in a subdivision, this Whopper Plopper can get you all the way around the shoreline very quickly, and you've got good reach with it. You can reach way out there, maybe find a hole that the fish are hanging out in the summertime, and then just work the shoreline all the way down. The size of the wake that this bait throws is just tremendous. Let's go ahead and take a look at this bait both in slow motion and under the water. And it's just really fun to take a look at this bait as the back side of it rotates through the water, making the splash. And you can see all the disturbance and the bubbles that this bait makes from underneath the water. So let's take a minute to take a look at some slow motion footage from above, and then we're going to take a look at some footage from underneath as well. I think that you'll find it very interesting. That underwater footage is really, really interesting. I never get tired of looking at that. Make sure, once again, that you punch that subscribe button and take the time to go out and encourage somebody today. You never know what a difference you're going to make in their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.